Okay, guys, today I've been very ill. I said yesterday when we were up on the mountain that I was starting to feel quite ill. And yeah, I've come down with some sort of head cold at the convention. And yeah, so I took the day off. And because of that, all I've got is me sitting around playing Ghosts and Goblins and watching episodes of Friends on DVD, which is not going to make great vlog footage. So I thought what I'll do is I saved the footage from my talk that I did at KinCon on You Should Make Comics. And I knew that I was going to get ill because I always get ill when I go to a convention. So I saved that for this particular situation. So what I'm going to do today is just run that talk for you so you can enjoy it too. And I've kept all the slides that I used, so I'm going to put them as overlays so that you can actually see what's been going on rather than trying to read it on a small, very bright screen. So let's go and have a look at that now. Hi, I'm Kirk-Robinson. I invented the first webcomic from Britain, and I'm here to tell you why you should make comics. Are you familiar with comics?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that basically words and pictures? Well, I'm going to rock your boat with this one. Because we said, yeah, words and pictures. The usual definition is that a comic is a sequential series of art in order to tell a story, but it doesn't actually have to be. Because if you look at things like newspaper comics, a lot of the time they won't have any words on them. So you don't really need any words. And if you do need words, there's a very good comic called Owlie, which is designed for young children who can't read yet, and the whole thing is told with pictures. Even when it requires someone to talk, it's all done by little pictures, so that the kid can interpret what's going on and make the story themselves. So you don't need words to tell a story. And so I thought, well, if you don't need words, do you need pictures? And so I was looking at some Aztec art and Chinese script. Well, these are pictures, but they're also words. And of course, Chinese script is very stylized logographic drawings. So essentially, the words are pictures. So in terms of comics, do you actually need any pictures if you've got words? Or do you need any words if you've got pictures? And essentially, I came up with the conclusion that there are no rules. If you want to make a comic without anything, you can make a comic. I'm going to brush through this quick because I know we're trying to get back on schedule. So, if there are no rules, well, how do comics work? And when you look at the different forms, we've got like 3 panels, or we can have full screen, a Japanese style, or a long form comic like a comic book. So basically, if you want to make comics, they work any way that you want them to. If you have an idea, you can make a comic from it. So let's say you want to make a Joker comic, and you would normally go with, you have your 3 panels, so opening, then you build up to your punchline. But if you're making a comic on the internet, that's not always going to work, because if you look at a telephone, you'll see one panel, and then you have to scroll across to see another panel. Unless you take the phone inside, of course, which is what I tend to do. But you don't have to. If you know what you're doing, you could say, well, I want to use something like Tinder to have my comic. So I'll put a picture up, and if you want to see the rest, you just swipe. And then it shows you the next one. It's not something that most people do because it requires coding, but it is something to think about. And it's just different ways of expressing what you want to say in your comics. So we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but I say no, because the way that your comic is laid out will define what you can say in it. And that comes up with this. Infinite canvas. It's the way that you'll get a comic. If you've got a website, instead of printing it, you can have the comic just scroll down and down and down on a website, rather than having to go page by page. Now that, of course, changes what you do with your story. Because if you want a cliffhanger, you might want it at the end of your page. But if you're doing an infinite scroll, they're going to see the next part of what you've just put in, and it kind of spoils the cliffhanger. So it changes how you would lay out your comic and what you can essentially say with it as you go along. And here's the one about scrolling into further because I'm getting ahead of myself. Now, like I just said, on the internet, your choice of comic style is infinite, technically, but it does limit you. For example, with this here, I've got a comic where, in order to show one of the characters is going from one dimension to another, I've got to climb out of the frame, and you can drop into another frame underneath. But that requires you to actually be using frames. If your comic is 1 panel per story, it kind of becomes tricky to do that. But if you've got a scrolling comic like the Infinite Canvas, you can literally have your comic characters drop into the frame underneath, rather than having to turn a page, which makes it changes how you do things. Now, we talked a bit about the style of comic, but how do you actually make one? And the answer to that is, of course, any way you want, the same way as putting them together online in the first place. We've got here some examples from the internet. XKCD, it's mostly text. I think if anyone reads it, it's essentially text with a few pictures. But it is definitely drawn by the artist who's written it. This one here, however, is not. It's just the text that the artist is doing, and he's using clip art, which makes things an awful lot quicker. If you've got a message, but you're not really good with art, clip art comics or found art comics or sprite comics. There was a very good Mega Man sprite comic a few years back. I don't know whether it's still running, but the guy didn't have to worry about his art style because he was using someone else's and using the characters in a different way to tell a different view of the storyline. Or you could do what I do and just draw it yourself, which takes a lot of time, but it's an awful lot of fun if you like drawing. And of course, all of these are done on computer, but they don't have to be. If you've got a pen and a paper and a camera, you can take a photograph of something you've drawn, put it straight on the website. I do that sometimes if I'm making comics while I'm not at my office. So, the gist of it is, when it comes to making comics, it's your comics, your rules. Do it however you want, however you think would be best for your story, or however you think would be best for you. If you've got a very hectic lifestyle and you don't have an awful lot of free time, make your comics on the way to work, or on the way back, or in your lunch break. Take a photograph and put it on your website, and you've got your comic, and it's published. And talking about publishing, what about publishing? How do you publish comics in the modern day and age? Oh, there are no rules to that one either. You can essentially make it up as you go along, which is what, to be honest with you, an awful lot of us do. Now, recently, in the last year or two, the way people are producing their comics has changed. Most of the time, it used to be, you got a website, you put your comic on your website, and then people came to your site. Now people are putting them on other sites, and people find them much easier, which is great because everyone wants people to see their comics. Tumblr is a big one for comics these days because it has a very good sharing mechanism, and it's built around graphics. So you put your picture online, people that see it, they can subscribe straight on that website, and it'll turn up in their Tumblr feeds, and then they can share it directly from that to their friends. Twitter's a similar thing. It's not as good because Twitter has this very small box that you see a picture and you've got to click on it to expand, but if you draw a comic in that size, then of course you don't have to click to expand, you see the whole comic, and that's very easy to share as well. And Facebook's the one that's turned up as a comic platform, and I would say the Death Guy comic was one of the first ones I saw using it. Puts the comic straight onto Facebook, and it's there on your feed, a bit like Tumblr, shared straight away, and then everyone sees it, and everyone can enjoy it. But if you do want to go for a traditional style of webcomic hosting, where you have a site and you press the forward and back buttons to see all of the things, then the easiest way is to go for the free one with a host like DrunkDuck, which sets you up straight away. You fill in a form, put your images online, and bam, you've got your comic. WordPress is a little bit more difficult, but it does allow you to customize an awful lot more. And of course, you can host it yourself, which means you can put links to, if you make a print collection of your books, there you go. You can put a link straight on it. There are lots and lots of options. Personally, I go for the WordPress one because I like fiddling with the code. But you don't have to if you want to just get straight online. You can do that as well. And essentially, I've run through it very quickly because I know that the sword fighting is coming up. So that's why you should make comics, and thank you very much. I've got some free printed out ones as well. So okay, there you are, and I hope you did like that. It went down really well at the convention, and as you can hear, I'm still not very well, so I'm going to go off now and get more rest. So thanks for watching, and go make comics. See you tomorrow.